What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Clocks Running, the podcast for everything flag football officials. I'm your host, Ant, and tonight we have a jam-packed show as we discuss the most confusing new format, coed aired out. We talk goofy Olympic sports. Is Florida really better at flag football than Texas? And finally, we drop our first Clocks Running top 25 Associated Media poll. So let's bring on the guest. First and foremost, New Dynasty's number one fan, Jakob. What up?
I love those guys. I make one joke and public enemy number one. I'll take it.
I just want to be clear, Jakob. The question was, what was your favorite format and the team that was most exciting in that format? And for some reason, you went completely opposite. So I can't be held responsible.
I mean, you can't. That's true. That's true. Just having a little fun with my guys, though. So shout out to
there we go.
Over in Arizona.
Yeah. All right. Cool. So next up, just to represent Florida on tonight's episode, we got Tasha. What up, Tasha? What's going on? You got that good Florida internet right now?
No, she's muted.
Oh, she muted.
Yeah. Hey, man. What kind of host are you? You're supposed to be paying attention.
There we go.
That's my fault. It's not his fault.
Of course it is.
Oh, all right. So, and finally, I just want to bring on the guy that in a matter of time got 100,000 views just for signaling safety on a quarterback. Here he is. Tim, what up?
What's up, guys? 100,000? Holy cow!
I mean, that's over a few videos, but you are tipping over 80,000 views on all the videos that I had you mic'd up, and so I know you don't have Instagram, but I know you got a lot of attention from those mic'd up videos.
My wife does, and she actually found it and sent it to me, and I was in shock. I was like, "Oh, okay, this is sweet." I was like, "Oh yeah, they were recording me. That's right, I forgot." So
yeah,
it was awesome.
Yeah, well, and yeah,
I'm gonna have to now.
Yeah, there you go. I know it's for the younger generation a little bit, but Jacob doesn't really know how to necessarily use it yet, but he's getting there.
Nope.
So Tim, I do want to just give you a shout out about the fact that even though you had a mic on your collar, your communication with the other officials in your crew and the communication with the players, I hope that those players appreciate it. They probably don't, but I know for sure Jacob does appreciate it, right?
Absolutely. No, I mean it's everything we ask for in our officials and more. So the your presence on the field, what you did, the way you move, the way you talk to the teams and the players, you kept things moving. You did a great job, and it's a great way to highlight exactly what we need. So I really appreciate that as well.
No problem, all the time. That's
For
the only
sure.
way I know to
And so
do it.
there you go, Tim. So just before we get into the show, first and foremost, what's the goofiest Olympic sport you've watched in the last 2 weeks?
The goofiest Olympic sport I watched. I don't know what that one is. It's not shuffleboard, but it's that. I don't know what the hell that one is called. They got to get it as close as yeah, I don't know what it's called.
I thought that was winter.
No.
That is winter.
Well, then I haven't been watching that much, I guess. That's the goofiest one I ever saw. How about that one? I can't think of anything than that. But so for winter, go. That's the goofiest one.
Curling. Okay, Jacob, what about you?
Dude, I've been keeping up with ping pong and handball. It's been great.
Handball is great.
Those guys with ping pong is next level. They're back 15, 20 feet off the table. I mean, it's hilarious how awesome it is.
I just can't believe those handball games are 60 minutes long. Like, that's
Could
crazy.
You imagine? That's a lot of running. It's a lot of running. It's like ultimate frisbee running. Sorry.
Yeah, Tasha, how about you? Don't say basketball. Yeah, I got to hear something else from you.
Basketball isn't goofy, though. You asked for goofy. I'd have to go with tennis.
Okay.
Just watching them, I mean, I guess in tennis it's understandable when they grunt when they hit the ball over the net, but like for them to do it in table tennis, interesting.
Yeah.
It's so cool.
I mean, more than anything, the different announcers is just wild to me. I mean, like, take for example, beach volleyball. I did not know that there was so much strategy in beach volleyball, like that they're serving to a specific player and like doing all this kind of stuff. But I tell you, these English announcers are like so on point with how many huge giant words that I don't understand they use completely, like throughout the entire broadcast. So, but all right, cool. Well, Tim, you're new to the show, and so I just want to give you the floor for a moment and just give us your history, your origin story. If you're in the Marvel comics, your origin story of how you got into flag football. I don't care how long it takes. We want all the good, the bad, the ugly, any fist fights you've been in, whatever it is. I want to hear it all.
Oh, okay. I don't know if I've been in any fist fights. I've been threatened a billion times. But origin, I've actually haven't been doing this as long as most people think I have. This is my fourth year officiating, which I absolutely love officiating. But I got into it about 4 years ago, and the difference with me is though this is my job. I don't have a 9 to 5. This is what I do year round in the great state of Florida, which I live in. I'm privileged because every single weekend there's something going on, whether it's tackle, flag, whatever. There's football year round, which is amazing to me. And I didn't know that. I'm a Pennsylvania boy. I lived there for 35 years. I moved down here 5 years ago. But so I got into officiating 4 years ago, fell in love with it. I played the sport itself. I coached high school football at one point in my life. And now I've come, full circle, I guess. Now I'm an official. And I've had every angle of this game, which I can kind of respect and appreciate. But when people ask me like, well, how long have you done this? And I say 4 years ago, oh, that's it. And I go, well, I'll use my Indiana Jones reference here. It's not the years, it's the mileage. And for example, we're in August of this year. We're 8 months into the year, and we got 5 months left here to go, including this month. And I have worked 679 games thus far this year in total. That's tackle, flag, mainly flag, but we just did Nashville, last month. I worked 60 games in 3 days. I did Worlds in January, did, I don't know, 80 some games or whatever. So it's a lot of games, which I love. And the first time I met Jakob, the first tournament was in, I believe, Virginia. I said, Jakob, give me more games. Give me as many as you get. He kept telling me, he said, hey, Tim, you got to be careful. You're saying it now, but you're going to want some breaks. And then he just realized that, no, I just want more. Just keep feeding me. And I don't think I've said a word to him since. He just loads me up with games every tournament. My schedule's always loaded, and we're good to go. And that's the way I like it. Can't get enough of it. Absolutely enjoy it. I've had a lot of privileges this year. I've done a lot of cool things this year. One of them was Worlds. That was my first Worlds for USA Flag. Absolutely loved that. Had a lot of fun. 5 days. I mean, that's a long time. I think by Sunday, that last couple of games, I might have needed that break he was talking about. But I got to I worked another tournament at Disney. It was their Disney Worlds for another tournament. They put me on ESPN. I got to white cap a few games. That was fun. I got to work I was invited to the NFL Pro Bowl this year, not the actual Pro Bowl game, but NFL Flag had their championships there. And out of 1,500 officials, I was one of 83 invited to go, which I was very honored to go. And out of those 83 officials, they had only 4 for the men's adult championship game, and I was picked to do that. So, I've had some things, and let you know you're doing okay. Let you know that you're okay. You're doing all right. I also had the honor just 2 months ago to go travel to North Carolina. USA Football had me work with the national football team for the men and women, and that was really great. Their third day there, they had cut day, and they have 18 players on both sides, and they had to cut down to 12. So that's a 1/3 of their team. That's a big deal. So they had one last game to prove they belonged on this team. And in the morning, they gave me the women's game. I was a white cap for the women's game, and so I was again honored to do that. And when we got to the afternoon, they said, "What game do you want?" I said, "I want the most difficult game. I want the game that nobody else wants." And they said, "Okay, we're going to give you the men's game." And everything's on the line for these guys. They've got to perform, or they're going to get cut. So again, another big deal. For me anyway. I also worked D3 college this year for the first time, college women's flag. That was great. Enjoyed that. So lots been happening for me lately, and I just can't get enough of this. This is my passion. If you haven't picked up on that, and it's great to work with you guys. Learn from you guys. Anthony, I see you out there sometimes. I'm always paying attention to you, what you're doing over there. You got just little things that you do I pick up on, and I love it. You have a different way of officiating than me. I'm a little more loud, and but you lay it down, you get things done, and I love it. And there's great ways to do things, and so yeah, that's kind of a little bit of my past, a little bit of my how I got here.
Yeah. What future wise? What's your goal in officiating?
Well, I'm never going to stop. I know that. I would like to get to the college level for tackle. I do love. My passion is tackle football, but flags all year, and I get to work a lot of flag. And I just like. I don't want to be I'm not selling USA flag here, but I'm excited for Worlds. I really am. I keep getting the more and more information I get. I'm like, oh, there's 900 teams today. There's 950, whatever the number is. It'll be 1,000 soon enough, or whatever it is. I'm excited for that. I've been telling my boys that I brought to Nashville. That was their first tournament. A lot of guys came to Nashville with me for the first time to work that tournament. There was 12 of us, and trying to sell them on it. Like, hey, this is great. They're coming to Worlds. They're coming in our back door, which 30 minutes away, 40 minutes away from my house. So, yeah, the next goal would be eventually get to D1 college, and then D1, and then we'll see what happens from there.
Yeah, I gotcha. So just to ask, and the only reason I'm asking this is we have Pat Spence on a lot, and he puts his shirts in the dryer 7 times before he puts it on. How many times do you put your shirt in the dryer, Tim?
What? One time. I don't know. One
sure
time.
Come on, man.
This is a medium. I can't wear larges. Large, it comes down past the elbow. And Jacob, I am sitting down. I know I'm not tall, but I am sitting down right now. Even on my birthday, Jacob had to get me with that. Even on my birthday. Stand up, Tim. Please stand up. No, really, you can stand up now. My 5'8" frame here.
Oh, man. Yeah, I remember when I was 5'8". That was a long time ago.
But, 6th grade was fun.
Yeah. All right, let's get into the boring rule review, but the one that maybe some players will listen to, and it'll help them not mess up, or it'll help them find new loopholes in the rule book. Jacob, very simply, just talk to us about air it out and laterals.
All right, so we're talking about air it out in general, not air it out coed, correct?
Correct. Yep.
Okay. All right, so air it out. We base air it out off of our 5-man non-contact rules. Big things that were the minor changes, details. You get 4 downs instead of 3 to midfield. You get 4 downs to score. That also gives you a 3rd timeout per game. Quarterback may not run cross the line of scrimmage at any point. All plays must include a forward pass to advance the ball. That forward pass does not have to go beyond the line of scrimmage to be legal. But there can't be any laterals, any handoffs, any pitches, any sort of movement with the ball outside of a forward pass from a quarterback to a receiver. Essentially, quarterback takes a snap, makes a forward pass. That runner advances as far as they can without getting their flag pulled. That's the name of the game. It's very simple. It's very It's meant to be more of a kind of like it's called air it out. It's meant to be a passing game. It's meant to get a little bit more traditional, try to transition people from tackle to flag a little easier, help them out a little bit with that. It's also just a new twist to the game, or a different twist to the game.
Yeah, Tasha, as a female quarterback, are you starting to play in leagues that have air it out, or is it still just kind of tournaments that offer it?
Just tournaments that offer it. I haven't played it yet, but I would love to. Just because obviously so I played in a tournament recently about a month ago here. I tried. I mean, I ran the ball and I normally don't, and I completely wrecked my ankle, and I'm still recovering from that. So, next chance that I have to get a play here now, that's definitely the one for me.
First question: Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm fine.
Okay, good. That's what you get for not refereeing.
Wow. Okay. Tim, in air it out. Do you do you do you find challenges? Jacob said it's a simple format, so that should mean that players aren't arguing with you about calls or anything. Do you find a specific challenge in air it out?
A specific challenge, just I mean, if we're going to talk players, that's every game. It's not to air it out for the adults. No, I love doing air it out. I think it's about as basic and simple as it gets. When you see that on your schedule, you're pretty happy. It's an enjoyable game. You're just looking for the passing game, and the quarterback can never run. You're not worried about anything like that. You're just watching for the normal things in any other game. Is it a catch? Is it not a catch? You get 4 downs, and you get to add in just little wrinkles in there. They get the 4 downs instead of 3. They get 3 timeouts. So you got to remember those things as an official. And a lot of the players kind of forget those things. They're thinking they only got 2 timeouts, or So you remind them you get the 3 timeouts. So
Yeah, I think air it out's been around long enough at this point, and Jacob, like you said, it's pretty simple. I mean, I just think that probably the only thing that comes up is just newer players that are jumping on, and all it takes is one defender to be like pitch, 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 and they throw it back, and you deal with it from there. As long as everyone on the crew knows not to blow the whistle, then there should be no issues. So that's the only thing I want to add is that it's not a dead ball if a pitch happens. It is live ball. You drop your flag and assess it from there because ultimately, if the defense intercepts it, they're going to be really mad that you just blew that whistle. So
You have to let
So, yeah.
stupid things happen.
there
I've
you
seen
go.
I've seen enough touchdowns off that. I've seen the defending team say, "Hey, pitch it, pitch it, pitch it," and then the offense pitches it back, and it's right to the defender. He's like, "Oh, thank you," takes off. So
There we go. So then, out of nowhere, I think the first time that I officiated co-ed air it out was Vegas tournament, not this past spring, but the year before. At that point, I think it was so new that we really didn't have a whole lot of issues. Also, there weren't a lot of teams that signed up for it. But so basically, if we're calling air it out a very simple format, you got coed, which is basically the most complicated one, and they come together and create this coed air it out format. So, Jacob, can you just explain to me what this format is?
First of all, you left out the word monster because when you combine it, it becomes an absolute monster. So essentially, what coed air it out is, if you're listening, if you're familiar with the playground division, it's a kind of a play off of that. But what it is you have a male quarterback and you have 4 female receivers, and you don't have to have a male quarterback just to lead. You can have a female still, if you choose. Or on defense, you have a male rusher and 4 female defenders. Or again, you can have a female rusher and no male on defense. Is completely your call. You can play with all women if you choose. Essentially, it's the same as air it out. Quarterback takes a snap. Quarterback must make a forward pass. They cannot be involved in any other part of the play offensively. If the quarterback throws an interception, they cannot defend. They have to stay put or get out of the way. Or they cannot be involved in the play whatsoever. The rusher, the way our rules are written right now, the rusher can they have to play the flags. They can run with their hands up and act like they're going to defend, try to alter a throwing lane. However, they cannot defend the pass. But if the rusher is a male, they must go directly for the quarterback and go for the flags. And again, if a quarterback throws an interception, they cannot they cannot be anywhere on the field like offensively active. They also, when the quarterback makes a pass, the rusher cannot try to make a play defensively downfield on a offensive player either. So otherwise, it's completely the same as air it out. Are the points stay the same as normal because it's all female play, so it's 6, 1, and 2. There's no female points for this. But everything else, that's essentially, those are the differences.
Tim, and I'm not sure which level of air it out co-ed you did in Nashville, but did you have any challenges around like the rusher and quarterback?
That was my first experience. I had a couple games, but that was my first experience with it. And yes, the rusher came in, hands up, had the ball got tipped, and he picked it off, and he took it to the house. And I let it go because I wasn't sure myself, to be honest with you. I was like,
Yeah.
I remember calling Jacob about it. Jacob, I'm not sure on this one. I thought that they couldn't do this stuff, but I didn't want to kill it either.
Right.
So we had to come to a decision whether they could even put their hands up. Now, I know they could put their hands up, but when the contact was made, I was told a couple things, so I'm not really sure to this moment. So are we allowed to make contact with this or not?
So the way we have the rules written right now, and the way we played it in Nashville, and we tried to have everybody on the same page. And I know it's difficult because it is a new format. Was rushers can come with hands up, they can wave their hands, they can try to get in the way, but when it comes to the pass, they must let the ball go. They cannot play the ball. They have to play the flags. And if you do make contact with the ball, it's essentially it just go down as an illegal participation penalty.
And we also had, just a regular interception, but the male tracked down the female and pulled the flags. So
Right.
we had to,
So,
we had we did throw for that. Yeah, we flagged for that, but I knew that was wrong, but I wasn't quite sure because it was just I hadn't seen it all day, and that was the first time the guy put his hands up, the ball tipped, interception. It's better to let things play out and figure it out and get it right than just to kill it right there. Because if it was legal, which it wasn't, but if it was legal and he takes it to the house, now we got a bigger problem because I blew it dead. Now we're dead.
Right.
So, yeah. But I did like the fact that I didn't have to count, open, close. That was nice. There's 4 females out there that, the guys throwing to them. So I thought it was an interesting game. It was different, male throwing to 4 females and then the male rusher. And, I thought it was neat, but it was pretty cut and, it's pretty clear that the male has very little. They can only throw it or they can pull those flags. It's kind of pretty much all they can technically do. There's, they get their hands up, but that's what they can do. So,
Tasha, what do you think about this format?
So before I answer that question, I just want to put my hands up like Tim because I feel like maybe he might not be wearing a medium and his sleeves disappear whenever he raises his hands.
I'm gonna take this. I'm gonna find out.
You see my sleeves still show. I don't know what's going on, Tim.
Hey, what's the point of working out if you don't do it? If you don't come up with
listen.
Hey,
if you look
you guys
good,
know what
we're
time
gonna
it
say
is?
something. If you look bad, we're gonna say something. It don't matter whatever you do, we're gonna say something.
Hey, bring it. This is nothing.
It's when we
fact,
don't talk.
I think this is my son's shirt. Actually, I think I put this one on. See, I can take it.
So what was the question again, Ant?
He's not even sure.
I don't. No, my question is how do you feel about this format?
From a ref's perspective, I'll give that first. But like Tim said, it's like basic cut and dry with the rules. It simplifies coed with the whole open and close as he was stating. So I think it's like the officials' best option when it comes to officiating like coed, so to speak. It just makes the game a lot easier and a lot more fluid, and you're not having to think too much per se in that sport with the rules. As a quarterback, as a person who still plays, and that I'm not a receiver, so I wouldn't be able to play unless I guess. And you can correct me if I'm wrong, Jacob. The only way a women's team would be able to play that is if I guess there might not be a women's division for them, or would a women's team be able to play that and air it out coed still?
Yeah, well, a women's team could play that. They could absolutely enter that. The male is an addition to it. It's the for lack of a better term, the base or the bare minimum would be 5 females to play. So you could absolutely play. Yeah.
Yeah. But like me per se, it's good. I'm not going to say that it's I hate it, but it's good for the population because there's not a lot of female quarterbacks. My only perspective that I don't necessarily like it 100% is because I am a female quarterback, and it takes away a team from me if I wanted to play, and they rather play with the male quarterback. So I mean, it gets kind of tricky with that. just because there's a plethora of them, and women do not want to stack on a team because they get less playing time. So it just kind of takes away from me having the ability to play as much as I would like. But according to Jacob, I need to be officiating anyway, so it's okay.
Yes.
We need you.
There you go.
Can't lose quality to playing.
That's right. And I mean, look what happens when Chum plays instead of being a director. It just causes all kinds of issues.
I thought we all had a nice little break, but soundbite that, Ant.
Okay, so just to be clear, Jacob, because I'm still kind of just unclear about this. So I'm a rusher. I go in. My hands are up. If
You
the
did it
ball
wrong.
hits,
You did it wrong. Get your hands up. You did it
Yeah,
wrong.
your shirt sleeve should disappear.
I thought we went over this.
let's see. Let's see if my sleeves are still there.
He's got a much better sleeve than me.
And he's wearing one of the Optimum Nutrition shirts that shrinks 6 sizes when you walk.
So I'm a rusher. I go in. My hands are up. The ball hits my hand. Not only is it, like I'm getting a penalty because of that.
Yes. Right now, the way we have the rules written, and this is right now. We without saying too much, we look at and evaluate every tournament. We evaluate the rules. We see what happens, and we find things that we need to fix or correct. But the way the rules were written, the way we played it in Nashville, and I thought we did a pretty good job of trying to stay consistent with this. If the ball hits the rusher's hands, if the rusher tries to play the ball, it's an illegal participation penalty.
Okay, and so the only option for a defense if they don't want to send a rush is just to have 5 females on. Is that right?
Yes, correct.
Okay. So can the male rusher just go to the line of scrimmage or right before the line of scrimmage and not rush, or he has to cross the line of scrimmage?
You got to cross the line of scrimmage because, I mean, as a rusher, what's your job? To get to the quarterback. If we're designating, if we're using this style to promote and get women to play that wouldn't normally play, that's kind of the thought behind it, right? It's teams that don't have a quarterback, that don't have a rusher. We're saying, essentially those 2 positions are not necessarily the most important, but they keep the game moving, right? If you don't have a good quarterback, your team's not going to play well, right? If we don't have Tasha throwing, we're not going to do well. If we don't have a good rush, defensively, we're only going to be able to hold up so much, So that's kind of the thought behind it. So if you're giving teams introduction with, hey, you guys are going to be the receivers, you're going to be the defensive backs, even if you come in and play quarterback or if you rush, that's great. For teams that are established enough to do that. But if we're introducing this style, we need the rushers to do exactly what they're supposed to do. They're supposed to rush. They're supposed to put pressure on the quarterback to throw the ball, and the quarterback's supposed to just throw the ball in these styles. So that's what we're looking for. We're not wanting to get so far out of the box with this because, again, air it out. It's a passing game. That's all we're trying to accomplish here.
Tim, did you notice the games that you did officiate? Were they really high scoring because the male was able to really let loose with the ball? Or
I didn't find them very high scoring. I mean, I found it average or a little low, actually. I really did. I think it was just like a normal game. I didn't see anything, because they're still gelling together. You could tell that they're still working out. Maybe they didn't have a lot of practice with this particular male quarterback, or they're just gelling as a team as it was. But no, I thought the game, and they were pretty competitive. I didn't really have any blowouts either. So it was different. It was fun. I just, getting the clarification on the rusher was a big deal. But besides that, it was fun. It was something different. And that's what I liked. It kept, at least I was intrigued. I think the players were too. I think they had a really good time. So.
Yeah. I mean, I think it gives another option. I think that's for me when I was running the team and I was playing, I wanted as many different formats to be able to play as possible. Because if I'm traveling to Olympia, Washington, and it's going to be raining for 72 hours straight for the 3 days that I'm there. I want to be on the field playing, and and so I don't care what format it is. I don't care if I'm good at it. Like I just want to play as much as possible. So I think it's good that it gives more options. So Jacob, you didn't really answer my question last week. So here's another opportunity for you to answer my question. Okay, so what happens if it's raining and the quarterback throws the ball and it goes right into the rusher's chest and he catches it? What are we doing?
You didn't ask me that question last week.
I did ask you that.
Not on here, you didn't. Not on here, you didn't. I think it's a case by case situation. You're looking at intent. You're looking at what you're looking at. You got to look at all aspects. And to be honest with you, for me, if I'm on the field, even if I'm the crew chief, and I've got you three, we're huddling for that. We're going to talk it out because it's not a normal situation. It's not a normal thing. Intent matters. Every part of it matters. I think the simple thing is if we all agree that it was, it truly did slip out and it just landed in the rusher's lap and they had they caught it just off of instinct. I think you blow it dead where they catch it and you have a turnover. I think that's what makes sense. But again, it's a case by case situation. It's one of those that's just not written in the rules. So you gotta kind of go on the, not necessarily on the fly, but with what football tells you to go with.
Yeah, and if you're not allowing the quarterback to be able to, if he throws an interception, you're not allowing him to make a play at the flag. It probably makes more sense for that play to stop, even if it is a incidental interception, basically.
Yeah, right.
Because he can't make a play at it. So that doesn't change if it's 5 females on offense and the female quarterback throws an interception.
And so it's 5 females on offense and a male rusher catches it.
Yeah,
I think same rule applies.
What about a female DB catches it, intercepts it?
Then she can run to the house.
The female quarterback can't make a play on it?
Oh, yeah, no, okay. So if, let's just say, for the sake of argument here, we have 10 females on the field. Female quarterback throws an interception to a female rusher because it slips out of her hand. A female rusher can return it as far as she can. Female quarterback can attempt to pull the flags.
Okay. All right. So essentially, it's just if the males are on the field, they become dead the moment the ball is thrown.
Right. Correct.
Makes sense. And not at all, but thank you. I appreciate it. Ultimately, sometimes for me, just being able to talk through things and have lots of conversations, I think it creates a muscle memory. And then when you're in game, you kind of remember these conversations. So I appreciate you explaining all that, Jacob.
Absolutely.
You're probably never going to put me on an air it out coed field now because
Nope.
Okay. Sounds good.
You got equipment checks with the pro divisions.
I do. It's very important to me. I just
Mr. Public Enemy number 1.
Hey, it's important for me to everyone look their best. I mean, that's it. We're headed to the Olympics. You think that the officials are going to let players in the Olympics have their flags move on their own?
Well, I don't expect you to when you're refereeing. When you guys are refereeing the Olympics.
Same color flags as their shorts.
Yeah,
I had that in Nashville, and I stopped the game right from the beginning before it even started, and I made them change. And of course, they hated me right from the start. And that game went to overtime. It was a close game, and the quarterback he came up to me after the game, and he said, I was going to come over here and let you have it, but I calmed myself down. I said, "Oh, good, I appreciate that." And then he went on to berate me with nothing but F-bombs and tell me what a terrible official I was. I said, "That was the nice you." So. Yeah. But again, just like you said, what's right is right. Get it right, and we did it from the beginning. It was just, hey, listen, we've been doing this all day. No, you haven't. And if you have, I'm sorry that you got away with it. But this is, change it. Come on. And these are adults. Come on. Let's be better than that. So you're absolutely right.
Sure. Yep.
Adult
Tim,
is
what
quite a
was
loose term in flag football. Tim.
that?
What's
Wait,
that?
what was that, Tasha?
I said adult is a very loose term
Yes.
in flag
Yes.
football.
Oh, I've had everything happen to me. I've been in my first in Virginia. Jacob knows this one.
This was epic.
I was thrown onto a game that was 2 minutes in because these officials have been over. They were actually no, they were sure they only had one official on the field. They sent me over, so me and my guy we started working the game. So we're 2 minutes in. They're on me already. They're like, "You're late, ref. What's wrong with you? That's unprofessional." I didn't have time to explain. I'm like, yeah. So I'm working the game, and this guy's in my face, just right here. F bombs, F you, and I'm like, all right, throw the flag on him, give him the unsportsmanlike. He goes, I don't care. I was like, listen, you're gonna care. Calm it down, or you're gonna get another one. You're out of here. He goes, I don't care. Before we can even walk off the 15 yards, he's still in my face. I said, you know what? Congratulations. And I gave him another one, and I kicked him out. Well, his quarterback now hates my guts. His whole team hated my guts. And his quarterback, there's only two of us, so I'm on the side. And he snaps the ball, pivots, and whips it right at me. Boom, right off my shoulder. There's no receiver. It was not even a two-step drop. It wasn't a one-step drop. It was just a pivot and whip it. And that's it. I was like, I've had it. I ended up ending that game, and I got a director and ended up forfeiting. But I've been hit with a ball. I did an NFL flag tournament. I got attacked. They picked up my flag, and they literally 2 feet away from me whipped it at the back of my head. So I've had it all. And that was in Florida. So in the great state of Florida, if you put one finger on an official, that's assault. So you're going to be going to jail. So I stood up for us that night. I took care of business that night. But yeah, so I've had it all happen, and there'll be more coming, I'm sure. I'm not. By the way, I want to let all players know I'm not challenging you to one up that. By the way, I'm a little guy, as Jacob tells everybody.
Just make sure you get your stripes cropped up on the sleeves, you know?
Yeah, exactly. Hey, look, I'm just trying to protect my little buddy here.
Yeah, hey, what did I say? I was 5'8". Hey, guys, I'm only 5'2". Leave me alone.
You heard it here first. Tim has challenged every player.
I don't want any of it.
Oh, man.
So Tim, the one game that I did mic you up for it. What was that? Was that fives or?
It was fives. It was a championship game. The one that went to overtime.
Yeah. Yep.
Because the safety was a different game.
That was I think that was aired out coed, that safety.
Yeah.
I'm talking about the one that went into overtime.
It was 5-man. I know that. I don't remember the exact format. Might have been.
It was probably amateur or red.
Yeah, it was probably something like that. But yeah.
What just I heard the sound bites and I just got lucky that I happened to walk over to your field and it was like this really intense game and there was like 17 seconds left or whatever. But just from your perspective as a crew chief, I heard you continuing to talk to your guys, and I don't know how much you had worked with those guys, if you'd been with them all day, but in those intense moments, what was really the focus for you and your crew?
It's the same thing always for me. I try to tell the guys, don't let the moment be bigger than you. Just because the game's on the line and intensity's high and everybody's going nuts a little bit. You could feel as an official. I don't know if players know this, but the heart gets racing for the officials. I love every second of it. I love a close game. I love it coming down to the wire. I'm great with that. Now overtime, we don't need that, but it's okay. But I love a close game, and I just tell the guys, do your job, and nothing changes. Just it's the same thing. The call is the call. I say, if it's pass interference, make sure you saw it. If you're not 100%, you're not throwing any flag, especially when the game's on the line. But if you're calling it all game, you're still calling it here. It's not bigger moment. It's just another game. I know it's a championship. I know everything's on the line and the crowd's getting loud and the intensity is great. But I'm also, as the crew chief, I'm focusing in not only on my job, but I'm making sure my guys are in position and they're thinking ahead. I'm saying things that are so simple to them, and they've been doing it for years. Some guys have been doing it longer than me. I don't care. I want them there. One guy said, he was my line. I said, I want you to get in the end zone. He goes, we have three officials in the end zone already. I said, if I can have 7 right now for this last play, I'd take it. Get in the end zone, get your eyes, get another set of eyes there, because this was the last play of the game. So that's kind of where my thought process is, but always staying calm, as the crew chief, trying to stay calm and lead by example. But letting those guys know that I have their backs, and I know they have mine, but letting them know I've got their backs, and whatever comes up, bring it to me. I'll take care of it. Anything big, but we'll talk it through. Even if you made a mistake, we'll talk it through. We'll fix it if we can.
Yeah, and I heard you in one of the huddles. You were asking the questions that to really draw out an explanation from one of your officials as far as should it be a pass interference or illegal contact. Tasha, when you're running a crew, you come together. What are you asking out of your officials?
Uh, it's on a basis. Just positioning is a lot. I know players when it gets to a certain time of the game asking for time, so making sure that we're like, hey, if we're under this amount of time for under 2 minutes, can you please give me time every 30 to 15 seconds if you can, so they don't have to keep on asking you if I don't keep that myself. Um, letting the players know what's going on, and then also like letting the crew like know that they need to be able to communicate with the players, and as much as they may be disrespectful towards us, that they need to understand that it's our job to communicate with them what we have. So if you have time, explain what's going on. If not, just keep it moving. Um, and that's about it, really, just communication.
Yeah, I can think of a situation. It was in the Arizona tournament, and I had two younger officials with me. One, Jacob refused to bring dinner to. He wanted French fries, and for some reason, like Jacob just did not want to feed the kid. I don't know what that was about. But anyway, he was probably so exhausted and famished that when I communicated to him last play of the game, you got to get downfield. It was a bad look for our crew because I was on the line of scrimmage. I'm expecting my 7 yard and my downfield to really move downfield and be on both sides of the goal line. And they were both about 15 yards away from the goal line. It was a Hail Mary pass. Uh, really, my angle probably ended up being the best angle because they were like trying to catch up to the play. It was a bad look. And immediately one of the players came up to me and was like, hey, I officiate back home and nobody had the right angle on that. And I'm like, yeah, you're absolutely right. That was a situation where we were all in the wrong place. So I appreciate just what you guys are saying. I think Lance said it last week. Even if it's the wrong call, if you put your arms up, touchdown, and you do it with confidence, and you're in the right place, the player can't really argue that. So, Jacob, anything else you want to add to what we said?
Well, of course, since you said I'm out here starving officials, let me go ahead and lead with I had to leave the state of Arizona to get that kid French fries to eat. That was probably one of the most difficult tournaments to get people fed, just because of the location where we were. Anywho, but no, I completely agree. You want people in the right place, you want people in the right spot, you want them because right, wrong, and different. If you're out of position, you could be 1,000% right, and they're gonna eat you alive because you made a call out of position. If you're in the right spot, you can miss a call. I say miss a call. Your judgment could be, something different than what they think, but because you're in the right spot, they're not going to argue as much. They might give you some pushback, but it's not going to be as much as if you're trying to call a touchdown from the midfield line, like Ant was saying. So yeah, I definitely agree with you guys on that. Like if being in position, it helps you. It saves a lengthier argument.
Yeah, and I don't know if I know this stuff doesn't happen in North Carolina because they don't have technology past like a camcorder. So you guys don't get sent a lot of film after tournaments of bad plays or anything like that. But in California, when I was there, it was like every single weekend. Sunday night. I was getting
But
clips. I was getting pictures. This is my angle. This is that, and that was my response to anybody that sent me that, any player or photographer or whatever. Is that was not my angle. You were not right behind me taking a picture. You were not recording right behind me. My angle is different than what you just took a picture of. So maybe you saw something different, and maybe you were in the right angle. But from what I saw, this is what I got. So Tim, do you have that where players will send you videos or pictures of plays?
I'm Fortunately, yes, it did happen in Nashville. There was an unfortunate call. We all do it. It was not my call. It was another official. I'm not going to name another official that worked with me in that tournament, and it was a really bad call. It happens sometimes, and I knew the quarterback, and he wanted me to look at it, and I said, I'm not going to look at this. It's not going to change anything. The game had just ended. He goes, I need you to see this. And I said, I'm not going to look at it. It's not going to change anything. I know I won't look at it, but I need you to see what happened. Please, I'm begging you. And after about 10 minutes of this, the game's over. I said, you know what? I'll tell you what. For your sanity, I will take a look at it and whatever. And he showed it to me, and it was bad. It was a bad call. And it doesn't matter what the call was. It was bad. We messed up, and I said, I'm going to apologize. He goes, it's not your fault. That's your guy right there. It's downfield. You're the white hat. I said, I understand, but maybe I could have got a better angle somehow. Maybe I could have talked to him a little bit better. We did talk about it, by the way, but he was very confident in his call. He said, no, I've got this. This is what happened. It was a pass. It was an offensive pass interference, but it was a game changer. There was like 5 seconds left in the game,
Yeah.
and the guy caught the touchdown and scored a touchdown. Everything legal except for my back judge said he had offensive pass interference. I'm 40 yards away. I've got no idea. I have no call. I did ask him 3 times because I said, this changes the game. You've got to be sure. So if you're even a little bit unsure, I can pick up that flag. We can let it be, And he's like, no, I have offensive pass. I said, okay. And we stuck with the call, and it did change the game. They lost the game because of that. Unfortunately, when I did look at it in film, he was incorrect in his call. And, it happens. I wasn't mad at him. If you go back in the history of if you go back in the 700 games I've done this year, I guarantee you're going to see some mistakes I've made. So we're human. We do it. But yeah, that's the most recent one. That was tough to take though. I never want to cost anybody a game. That's as far as I know that someone's brought it to my attention in my entire career of officiating. 2 games ever has my crew ever been responsible for the other team winning that I know of, and it's never a good feeling.
Yeah. So Jacob, just kind of going back to the going into Olympics with flag football, but if you look at the Olympics this past 2 weeks, everything has the ability to review stuff. I mean, they go with the little box. I mean, handball, ping pong. I mean, everything has it. So thinking about that in the future with flag football, how do you think that that's going to get tied in the Olympics?
Well, you're definitely gonna have to allow instant replay. The same weekend we were in Nashville, there was a tournament in Canton, right? And if you go back and you watch, you had an official on the field in real time. At the end of a game, rule a kid out at the 3-yard line. The kid never stepped out of bounds, and ESPN ate that up. They zoomed in. They wrote, the commentators were like, I'm not sure. I don't think he was out. I don't know. And the internet went bananas. So I think if you're going to have televised on major market, I hate it. Let me lead with that. I absolutely hate the thought of having instant replay because I think it opens a door that you're never going to shut. But I think you have to have instant replay for that fact. We say, in our games that we won't use instant replay because it's not fair across the board that, I could have you 3 on 3 separate fields and I could have one camera person that we hire on Tim's field, and Ant's got, somebody's side chick filming on his field. Tasha's got some crew that somebody else hired for their field. It's 3 different camera crews. It's 3 different quality of camera. It's 3 different angles. It's not consistent. So it creates inconsistencies and an unfair advantage for some that may not get it for others. So I think you have to. I don't know, man. I struggle with it, but I think in these televised instances, like when it comes to the Olympics, you're gonna have to have instant replay, because if not, you're gonna get absolutely massacred with what's gonna be on TV and what's gonna be online.
Yeah. Tasha, what are your thoughts on instant replay going into flag when it gets into the Olympics?
only for the sake of it already being involved in every other sport. I mean, I feel like it only makes sense. However, I think that instant replay in all aspects um, takes um, trust away from the officials. Um, we like when you get to a certain point, for example, like in the NBA, you have to keep a certain call percentage with the correct calls. So if you make 10 calls in one game, 8 of those have to be correct, or you're going to get NBA games taken away from you as an assignment. And that's how it is across the board with all professional sports. They hold you to a certain standard, and you're individual contractors. So if your performance starts to go down, they'll take you off, and they literally keep spreadsheets with all of your information and every single call you've ever made. And I think that when it comes to being on TV, yeah, it would be embarrassing to be that one guy. And I'm not calling somebody out the 3 yard line, and I haven't seen it yet, so I don't know what it looks like. But at the end of the day, people have to understand that we're human, and human error is only going to be like I mean, it's normal. Um, but also like they're watching it in slow motion. Of course, you can watch something in that at a slower speed and be like, oh yeah, that was definitely this or that was definitely that. We don't get that privilege, and so I feel like it takes trust away from fans, spectators, coaches, players, to be like, oh, dang, she just missed that call. Like, what's going to happen? Like, she already missed that call. She's going to miss this one and the next one. So I feel like in that aspect is bad for officials. And I don't know how to correct that because even happens now. I've never gotten a video sent to me, but I see them all over social media. And it's like, it may not be the right angle. You slowed it down so much that you can see everything that's happening, but in real time, you're not making that call, like right or wrong. It's really hard, and I don't think people understand that aspect. Like video gives them so much, but we don't have that. And at the end of the day, if you rely so heavily on instant replay, at some point in time, are you just going to get rid of officials in general and like completely and figure another way to officiate sports? Like, what's the end game for for instant replay being introduced into the games?
Yeah, for sure. And shout out to Dula for always tagging me and Jacob with Pirates of the Caribbean music in the background, slowing down plays completely, pausing them, all this stuff. But Jacob, you and me handled it exactly how I think we all should as officials. We should have each other's backs, and we both saw Lance in the video first off.
I ain't saying anything
and we,
against that man.
and we both said he called touchdown. It's touchdown. now, now the good thing with Lance is he was right there on the goal line, literally right in front of the play, and his hands went up immediately. So you trust that man's gut for sure.
No,
So,
absolutely. So
all right, what? Go ahead, Jacob.
I was going to say for Tim and Tasha, I don't know if you guys have seen the play or not. A female catches the ball. It's the front pylon. She catches it. She bobbles. She takes possession again, and then the ball's punched out. The question that came online was, and Lance called it a touchdown. The question was it a touchdown? What should it have been considered a catch? Should it have been, what should the call have been? Lance signaled touchdown. I got touchdown. If Lance said fifth down on the film, I got fifth down until a legitimate challenge is made and we're brought in to intervene. Judgment will never be overturned by me.
For sure. So that was some serious talk, and I want to move on to some fun stuff. Jacob, you were on the hot seat last week, time and time again. You picked Florida over Texas. You said in all aspects of flag football, Florida is better than Texas. I just, I just
Good grief, dude! You gonna put any more words in my mouth? Let me swallow the first pause.
So, all right, Tim, you're up first. I just want to know what your favorite format is and what team is most exciting in that format to you.
Favorite format. Oof. I like contact actually. I don't work at a ton, but I do like contact. To me, contact is wonderful for me because it's easier for me to officiate. I mean, I work a lot of flag, but it's just as far as how my mindset. It's more on a tackle atmosphere a little bit. Like the rule, they're coming in. You're just looking for certain things, and I got no problem with it. Some people argue with you. Go, no, it's more difficult. I don't find it that way. Team wise, though, I'm so bad with teams. I don't have a team that's good in that. I'm not. I'll be honest with you. When you do so many games, it's like next game, next game, next game. So I don't really know that many teams, to be honest with you. I
All
don't
right,
know.
so you took the Lance approach. I don't like that. So Tasha, I want a real answer. Tasha, I know you know the team. So what's your favorite format and the team that you think is most exciting in that format? Oh, hold on, Tasha, you're muted.
I I don't officiate co-ed. Like it's rare that I do, but I love watching teams play co-ed. There's this team, Robin Hood's out of here in Orlando, and Belt plays with them. And I feel like when you have him with a really solid supporting cast of receivers, they're all fast and electric, and they're really fun to watch. And they play on different teams in like local leagues here, so they kind of play against each other. But like watching all those players on that team when they play eights co-ed is really fun. Um, and then for officiating, I'd probably say it'd be a different answer, but I love officiating sevens because it's the old school original format for women's. I don't know. Sorry, Jacob.
So slow.
It is
It
really
is,
slow.
but I feel like the IQ and concept of sevens is more as at a more heightened level than I feel like in small ball.
Okay, and who's most exciting in sevens, specifically women?
And I already gave you a co-ed team. That's that.
Well, you brought
Um,
up another format. Like,
uh, when Venom has all of their core players, it's them because they're honestly just they're unstoppable. They have a solid core of athletes, just like all around athletes, some dogs.
yeah. No, for sure, and I'll agree with you as far as Belt goes. I mean, anytime he's on the field, it's exciting to watch. For sure, I think him and guys like Mark and Pablo. I mean, it's just they could come on with 45 seconds left in the game, and they're gonna make a difference. And so
But I also feel
that's
like their
always
IQ is so high that they make the players around them that much better.
oh for sure. Okay, so this leads us into Tim and Tasha. I don't know how much you have followed what I've been talking about the last couple of weeks. So we're doing something new and exciting, just to bring some, more attention to this podcast, and hopefully, people start watching and listening more. Just like the Associated Press when they come out with the top 25 polls, college football teams, and all of that. I've spent the last 2 weeks talking with the media of flag football. I had 11 voters. They're going to remain anonymous. They included bloggers and content creators and directors and a little bit of everything. But they are people that definitely are plugged into flag football and they know a lot about it. So 11 voters came together, representing all different parts of the country. So it wasn't just all Texas. It wasn't all just Florida. So essentially, this is how the ranking went. First place vote gets 25 points, and then the 25th place vote gets 1 point. So each voter they sent me this big long list, and they had it all ranked, and I plugged it together and kept combining the points, and I had this ultra list. And so tonight, I'm going to reveal the top 10, and then I'll post the whole 25 list. And then there was a lot of teams that got votes, maybe from one voter or a couple voters, and so they were right there on the cusp of being in the top 25. Just a fun thing to do. I hope it brings on lots of conversation. This includes everybody. This is contact, non-contact, 4s, 5s, 6s, 7s, 8s coed, coed teams, men's, women's. It's everybody, and so it's not going to look like the normal list that you would think of, and I think it brings in a little twist to it as well. So without further ado, um, let's go in reverse order. Number 10, Nas. And does that stand for North Atlantic Shore? Is that what that stands for?
Bueller.
I'm trying to think of something to play off of a Tim situation.
I think like I saw them in a couple tournaments and I was like, what is Nas? Do they just love the rapper? Like, what is that? And then, and then at some point, I think I saw a sign somewhere in Florida that said North Atlantic Shore or something. I was like, that's Nas. That's got to be what it means. So,
You've been hanging out in
but
Ohio for too long already.
that's me literally not being in the state of Florida up until like 3 years ago. So I don't really know much about Florida at all. So next up, number 9, Mean Machine. And so Nas had 103 points. Mean Machine had 117. Number 8, we had Team Shrooms with 120. Number 7, Curry Bombshells. So the Curry Bombers co-ed team, not their men's team that should start playing in comp or rec because they don't win anything anymore. Next up, number 6, Free Smoke with 135 points. Number 5, OBB. So there's a women's team on there. And they play a lot of 7s, Tasha, so there's there's your mention.
They mercy ruled the 7 women's championship this past year.
Oh, wow.
That's right. Yeah. Against one of the Canadian teams, right?
Yeah. I think it was like 28-0 right at halftime.
Yeah. Then number 4, Jakob, New Dynasty.
My guys.
With 145 points. Number 3.
Fighting to the top.
Number 3 is Supreme with 154. I just think that in conversations with the voters, I just think that their performance at Worlds, it can't be forgotten yet, and they did beat YTG in the championship, so I think that's probably why they got a lot of votes. Number 2, here we go with another women's team, Lace Up with 156. Okay, so they just got edged out Supreme, 156 to 154. Finally, I don't think this is any surprise because they've swept a lot of tournaments. Number 1, YTG, it was a pretty big point, 215. So, 60 plus points, they beat out second place. So that's the top 10. I will release the 25 later tonight. Jakob, your thoughts? Anything you want to add?
I mean, I think Lace Up being number 2 is it's a pleasant surprise. I think they're a really good team. They're really deserving. I truthfully thought with when you started naming teams, when you said women's team, I wasn't expecting OBB to be the first one named. But that was good to hear. I think Lady Venom getting left out of the top 10 is a little tough, but I think that's it's just part of the process. Be curious to see what the rest of the list looks like. And last question, and you don't have to say if you don't remember, if you don't want to or whatever. Did YTG receive anything other than first place votes of your panel of voters?
They did because let's see, what 11 times 25 would be like 255, I think, or something like that. So they were
275.
215. 275. There you go. So they were at 215. So they definitely.
Okay. So some people didn't vote for them first. It's interesting.
I think that
there maybe.
Hey, I will say this: that
not everybody always votes. the right way. You know, I don't know who these people are, but not everybody always votes the right way. So they're like, oh, they're probably going to win. I'm not giving them first. You know, I don't know. Who knows?
I will say that voters and the region they were from was interesting, and
Really?
so yeah, so there was some hometown stuff going on there. I would say the lowest that I think YTG got. I think they got a number 15 seed in one voters
That's
ranking. So
biased. That's not true. That's someone's bias. That's terrible.
yeah, so there was some interesting, and once you see the honorable mentions, the teams that received votes, you'll really understand that there was some regional stuff going on for sure. So I'm
And so
glad that
that's to be
I,
expected.
You can't you
yeah,
can't be you can't be on top without some hate. You can't be on top without some hate. If you don't have any hate, you're not doing something right. So
15.
yeah.
Wow, that's crazy.
Tasha, any thoughts on the top 10?
Yeah, I'm surprised. So is this like on like their most recent? Like, is this going like in the span of the past couple of years, the past or like of all time?
I just did 2024,
Okay,
so Worlds in through Nashville.
okay. I feel like that might make sense why Lady Venom wasn't on there. So I think a lot of their players played with other teams. If I'm not mistaken, and at
Yeah,
Worlds they
that's
didn't
true
have their
too.
full team. But I am surprised about YTG only because they play in various tournaments throughout the year, and I don't know on a consistency level how many of those players play every time with them because they borrow. I mean, let me take that back. They have players that play with them that are from other really big name teams, specifically here from Florida. So
Yeah,
that's kind of interesting because it's like they have players from TDR, Kings of Florida. So that's, I mean, I guess that's like the biggest interesting team to hear about, I guess, for number one.
yeah. Tim, you don't know any teams, so but do you have any thoughts?
well, the funny thing is when you went down the top 10, I'm like, holy shit! I know I've had every single one of these teams, so I'm like, why couldn't I have named one of these teams when you asked me? But so at least, I mean, I recognize all of them, like Nas, Mean Machine, Shrooms, of course. I mean, New Dynasty, Supreme, Y2G, of course. So it looks like a pretty good list to me. I mean, again, like I'd like to hear the other 15, the top 25, so I get a better feel for it. But I mean, I've literally had, now that I see this, I've had every single one of these teams at some point and multiple times. So seems like a pretty decent list. Like I said, I'd like to see the other 15. Is that
Yeah,
getting
for
released?
sure.
Is that getting released tonight too, or?
Yeah, yep. I will post the whole 25 and all the receiving votes. I will say Lady Venom was on there. They didn't hit the top 25, and it was pretty low how many votes they got. So even the votes they got were pretty low in the top 25. So very surprising. But also there were Canadian teams that ended up on the list. There were a few teams from Mexico. There was a sevens team a men's sevens team. So I think it was a good mix. I think everybody did take the time to really kind of look and think things over. Hopefully, we continue to have more members of the media jump in on this, and it continues to grow. And we can every time I get maybe three or four more votes, we can re-release it. My plan is after San Diego, we'll release it again for sure. But who knows? Maybe in the next month or so, we'll knock out another one. But so anyway, that it was fun. It was fun to see, and I hope it brings in all kinds of conversation. Just like Jacob saying that Florida was better than Texas. Um,
You're not gonna
Go
let that
ahead.
one go.
I mean, I
I'm,
literally, I just
Is he
never mind.
wrong? Is
Never
he
mind.
wrong?
Never mind. That's however he needs to twist what I said. That's fine.
It's all right. I know Unk's on your side. I know Unk's on your side, Jacob.
Yeah, I'm sitting in between Unc and Chun. I
that
got
was
one hugging me,
that.
the other punching me.
Literally, I gave Jacob no heads up, and I said, "You got to make a decision. Pick your friend that you like more, Florida or Texas." And
I saw Unc get up at one point. He got out of his chair for 1 second. They call, Lord have mercy, come on.
I mean,
As soon
it's
as he saw it.
yeah. I mean, Tasha, to talk about your point with YTG, that's kind of interesting, right? Because it was like TDR and Kings of Florida, and now a lot of those players are mixed with YTG, and YTG was from Texas. So if YTG is number one, who can they really claim that, where can they claim that they're from? Florida or Texas, or it depends on the tournament kind of deal. I don't know.
Players
So
change rosters so many times. Like even to have the list of teams, it's like what team are you referring to with what people that were on it?
yeah,
Well, that was a good
yeah,
question you had, Tasha, earlier about how is this broken down? Because I was thinking the same, and it's from this year, so that makes a big difference. Like because 2023 is completely different than 2024 as far as
Right.
these teams, and of course these numbers would change quite differently.
Oh, absolutely.
yeah, and just even the fact that YTG is now in playing contact, which is pretty new to them, that messes with the other formats that they could play, and maybe that's causing them to lose the championship here and there. I don't know. I think in Nashville they had that challenge where I think it was five contact and coed kind of were going on at the same time.
Yep.
Yeah, so I think that put kind of made it hard for one person in particular, Mark, to be able to play coed because he was focused on contact, which makes sense. Because I mean, I think in five contact, who's going to stop Mark? He,
And then, I mean, that's like trying to say, in any style, who's going to stop him?
yeah,
That
yeah,
man is a one of one. He is a fantastic quarterback. He's a fantastic athlete. I mean, you can put him in any position and he'll excel.
yeah. And from my standpoint, when I asked him to tuck his jersey in and fix his flags, he did it with no argument at all. So I can appreciate that. But anyway, just to wrap things up, guys, I want to give you the opportunity just to share final thoughts. It doesn't have to do with flag football, or it could have everything to do with flag football. Tim, I want to start with you.
First off, thanks for having me on. This was great. Anthony, what is I wanted to bring this up earlier, but now we're at the end here. So just a kind of quick way, how do you feel about positioning to see the impeding call? See, I'm a guy who likes to be behind the line. I like to be behind the quarterback. But the way we run mechanics is even in 3-man, you're on the line, and I have a very difficult time seeing that impeding from that angle. But I love four-man crews where you're actually behind. Which do you prefer? Where do you like to stand to see the best? What gives you the best angle to see that impeding? Because it's a very big call.
I think that really depends on who you have on your crew. You have to know whether or not you can be, because if you are behind the quarterback, then the person that's at the rush line, they have a lot of ground to cover. So if that person is maybe not experienced enough or not strong enough in that position, maybe it doesn't make sense to be behind the quarterback. Now that's in three man
Three.
mechanics. If four, ideally, I mean that you got to do it. You have a referee, so that only makes sense to me. If you have four-man mechanics, but as far as three goes, I have done both. Um, I think having someone behind the quarterback really depends on if it's three strong officials or not. I think that Jacob knows this about me. I don't like push or pull in any aspect of it at all. So if I'm, for example, we were doing contact and I was on the line of scrimmage on my field, and it was a two-man crew, and I had just gotten into the routine of being on the line of scrimmage. So then I got moved over to another field to help with contact, and I just wanted to stay on the line of scrimmage instead of moving behind the quarterback. I was just comfortable with that, and I know there's not impeding in contact, but in either one of those scenarios, it's just kind of where I'm at. If I start behind the quarterback at the start of the day, I'll probably try to stay behind the quarterback, for the entire day, best I can. But you're always, I think, impeding is what you're going to see behind the quarterback best, because you can see the lanes, you can see the routes that are breaking. If something happens on the opposite side of where you at, and you're on the line of scrimmage, you're going to miss that. And because you're not looking for contact, it's an impede. And so that's what makes it the biggest difference. But it's the same as if you're behind the quarterback and you end up with a star and you're having to scramble, and the rusher pulls the flag on the opposite side of where you're at. You might miss that sack.
Right.
So there's always going to be blind spots that get created. But that's my opinion as far as that goes.
Well, that's good.
So
I just like, I always like to ask officials because that's I prefer to be behind. But like you said, if maybe your crew's not strong enough, or you're trying to make sure your crew's not working too hard and going back and forth, running back and forth as much, if you're on that line, it helps them. They don't have to cover as much ground now. I was talking with Lance with it, and he actually has the rush just pivot towards the line just a little bit, because all he needs you to do is look for about a second or two, because that's when the impeding is going to happen. You don't have to look for a long period of time. And I said, okay, you know what, Lance, that actually does make sense, because you're going to find out within a second or two, because they're fast. Those rushers are really fast. So if you can get that help, then you can, in 3-man mechanics, you can stay on the line and then help out your crew. But overall, I do prefer to be behind, because it's just a perfect angle. I know exactly. Did you impede in that? No, you didn't. Yes, you did. I mean, it's when I'm on the wing, or I'm on the side. I'm sorry, on the sideline. It's hard for me to see that. It really is. I struggle with. Did he get in that lane? Because I have a bad angle on it, and I don't prefer that angle. But I do the 3-man. I go to the side. I do, and 3-man, 4-man. I'm in
uh,
there.
Jacob, anything you want to add? Anything I said wrong?
I mean, you said everything wrong. But no, no. To be honest with you, I think you kind of nailed it. Pretty much my justification for wanting the crew chief to be on the line is the expectation is you should be able to, across the board, you should be able to see it, right? And I know it is difficult to see, because it's difficult for me to see when I'm there too. But you also want to have coverage downfield. I would rather me be on the line of scrimmage and have to worry about 3 people at most, versus my rush judge and my back judge having to cover 20 yards and have one person try to cover 8 people and see everything. Where on the it's kind of a balance game, and it's like Ant said as well. When it comes to the crew chiefs, especially the ones that I know, like with you guys, if you're more comfortable in your crews putting a person on the line of scrimmage, putting yourself behind the line of scrimmage in the referee's position, and then having your rush judge be the only person back, if that makes the most sense to you, then do it. I don't. What we put out is not a hard. It has to be this way, because I'm a firm believer that there's more than one way to tie your shoes, right? You can, there's more than one way to do everything right. Yeah, my way is not the highway. So it's a good, in my mind, it's a good guideline. So
Is that the North Carolina saying? There's more than one way to tie your shoes.
yeah, well, I could say there's more than one way to skin a cat, but I'm trying to be nice here, okay, Ant?
Okay, my bad. I'm sorry. I don't know why you're so angry all of a sudden. All right, Tasha, any final thoughts?
No, I appreciate you having me on as always, and I'm actually really interested now in this the rest of this top 25 list.
All right, cool. Jacob, what do you got?
Man, it's always a fun show. We're getting ready to hit number 30. Of recorded shows that you've been doing with this. You've been doing a great job, man. I just, if anybody else hadn't given you your shout out, man, just great job to you for putting this on, putting this together, having good content constantly. and keep pushing the bill, man. It's like you say all the time. If anything comes from this show, it's people picking up small tidbits of the rules. It's players picking up and understanding what we're trying to do on the field and understanding that we're human out there and that things happen and right, wrong, and different. We want to do the right thing and try to be there for everybody. So appreciate you and appreciate all the time and effort and energy you put into this.
Yeah, for sure. No, I appreciate that. I just it's been a lot of fun, and I do feel like maybe just the clips are what a lot of people pick up on. That I mean, that's just the world we live in. But I do feel like the comments are pretty positive. I see people leaving comments like, "Oh, I love that official." This is that game was great. Tim, there was a lot of good feedback from that game that you had, and like I said, I just got lucky. It was a really intense game, but I think on both sides of that coin, both teams felt like they got the even officiated crew. They got what they paid for in that sense, and I just happened to be able to capture it. But that's what's fun about flag football is those exciting games, and we just want to be a part of it too. And I don't know. Just the whole time I've been watching the Olympics, I've really been getting into like rhythmic swimming and artistic gymnastics and things like that. Because why not? But ultimately, flag football is going to be in the Olympics, and so it's just exciting to be a part of this. And this is something fun and new and something different out there. So I appreciate you guys coming on. Tim, I need you to sign up for Instagram tonight and subscribe. I need you to go on and like all these videos. I need you to do your homework. But we are everywhere. We are on every platform that you can listen to podcasts. But if you want to see our reactions, you want to see how angry Jacob gets at me throughout the show, that that is on YouTube. So you got to check that out because I think that's the best version of this show is being able to see the video and the audio all together. But we are also on TikTok and Twitter and Threads and Facebook and Instagram and all that other stuff. So find us everywhere and please continue to support. Yeah, I'm excited to release the rest of this top 25. I think you guys are really going to be have fun with the next 15. And then more importantly, to see the teams that didn't make the cut. Jacob, there's one real special in there for you. So.
Of course there is. Of course there is.
But all right, y'all. I appreciate it and have a good night.
Peace.
Be good.
Thanks,
Appreciate it.
Ann. Thanks, guys. Have a good night.